All right, you're welcome back from that very quick break. The newspaper review segment continues. And let's continue with the Guardian newspaper now. And below the nameplate of the Guardian newspaper, it says, Obi's ADC defection fractures LP, reshapes opposition ahead of 2027. And that read you will find on page 6. Now on page 15, and like I said, it's on page 4 of the Guardian. Now the Star Story reads, Tinubu, and like I said, it's on page 4 of the Guardian. Now the Star Story reads, Tinubu promises better economy, security amid opposition's knock. Promises better economy, security amid opposition's knocks. And that's on page 6, so please go out and get yourself a copy. I'm well abreast with issues.
Port of call today. Above it, the nameplate, it says 2027. That's your kicker. Journey to rescue Nigeria begins now. I thought that journey began in 2022. Well, I think the journey begins afresh every time we have a new election cycle upon us.
Exactly, right. That's the thing. So, for individuals who think that Nigerians are still gullible, we're not. We're now more. For individuals who think that Nigerians are still gullible, we're not. We're now more aware. We now know our rights. We knew we had rights, but we're now aware now. So it's going to take a really long road for you to kick that into us when you say the new Nigeria begins, whatever speech you're giving there. But, we're now aware and we now know how to separate things. But some individuals will know that. But at the same time, as Nigerians, we're now aware and we know that our vote matters, and we know what we want for the benefit of ourselves and the nation.
Right. Well, let's look at the rider that accompanies that headline. It says, leads 3 senators, reps, members, ex-governors, others to ADC. I'll not defect with Obi. That's Oti, in reference to Alex Oti, governor of Abia State, one that some people had thought would move with Peter Obi. Well, I'm sure the two gentlemen would have had their own conversation about these. All right, 2026 marks more robust phase for economic growth. That's credited to the president. 4 riders with it says our reforms in right direction. Nigeria will emerge stronger this year. Adds by harmonizing our tax system, we aim to raise revenue sustainably. We remain committed to protecting lives, property. Tax laws, ADC, LP, NANS, other SKIC as implementation begins today. Well, it has started already, people. I'm sure it's a question of now managing and continuing to governize the process as we make progress. Well, that's a wrap on this segment of the show for you this morning. Just a quick reminder that please, you have to take responsibility for reading up details of these headlines for yourself.
Very important.
That way you stay informed, stay ahead of fake news, and then you also will have the profound insight into where the news is heading today. A quick reminder as well that Global Television or the team here on Global Morning is not in any way responsible for these headlines or their details. All we do is present the headlines to you exactly as published by their respective publishers. We're taking a quick break. The show continues shortly. Please stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
As always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Teacher Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course,
Welcome. Joyful home doesn't happen by chance.
Can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
very numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Face to Face is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
Rural News in United.
Once again,
is that platform where inspired. Stay with Global Television on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276.
In his New Year message, President Bola Tinubu has said quite a number of very pivotal things, raising issues around our national development as a government and, of course, as a people. One of those things he mentioned is that in 2026, his government will prioritize ensuring that it continues to improve on the gains recorded in 2025 and the years before that, especially as it has to do with the economy. Of course, it's on record that President Bola Tinubu will make history as the president of this country who has made some of the most radical decisions as they touch on national development. For example, upon assumption of office in May, on the 29th of May, one of the things they did was to say that fuel subsidy is gone. And of course, we know the if you like, implications that followed that pronouncement. Of course, experts time and again argued that it wasn't a policy of government, it was a pronouncement by the president. However, the president has taken out time to make very clear that any country that wants to progress, any country that wants to record whatever it is, something of worth, something of significance, must be ready to be drastic, must be ready to be resilient, must be ready to be futuristic and visionary about where it wants to head. And I like the way he puts it. It says for you to make an omelette, you've got to break an egg.
So now
I know that resonates with you because you're a foodie.
Really.
And the president says you need to break an egg.
It's just a metaphor.
Of
you
course.
have to go all out when it comes to playing your own part. It's very important.
Pay the price of what you want to achieve.
Pay the price of what you want to achieve. You have to break an egg in order to have an omelette. If you do not break an egg, you cannot have an omelette. So you have to pay the price on what you want to achieve. That's what tax law is all about. We have to be sacrificial for a better and prosperous Nigeria. In my own words.
And hopefully we're not breaking too many eggs now.
No, please.
All right, so the president talked about that. He has also talked about insecurity. And more than ever before, there is now the reassurance that the government is doubling down on the fight to end insecurity of any kind in the country. We're seeing the intervention by the United States, which has been criticized, in some cases commended. We're seeing those now calling on Nigeria to continue to partner with the likes of the United States to ensure that we put this entire security problem, put it to bed, as they say. And then, on the other hand, there are those who say that the United States is not the right partner for Nigeria. That we should be looking out for countries like China, like India, and then maybe looking out for countries like Russia. That those are the guys who should be collaborating with to end insecurity. But in the middle of all of this, you see that there are economic concerns or interests, you see that there are political elements, and then of course issues around diplomacy, international relations, and what have you.
Very true.
But in the middle of this noise, Nigeria must ask herself what is important to us, what serves our overall self-enlightened interests. That's what we should be looking at, because Nigeria cannot afford to come weak. We can't come to negotiating table weak. We've got to come strong. We've got to negotiate from a place of evident advantage. You try to fake an advantage, advantage.
Very, very true. And I think the major concern is how other countries have turned out with the intervention of the United States. Look at Afghanistan, for instance. Look at Iraq and all of these countries. It didn't end so well. It didn't end well. So I'm sure people have concerns. So as we have mentioned, if we're going to negotiate, if we're going to come on the table, it should be a place of advantage for Nigerians. We have to sit down and not being pretentious about it. This is what it is and this is how it's going to be, and no, it's not going to work this way that you want. We have to come on that negotiating table and make the best out of it, putting at the back of our minds that this is the only country that we have. Come back to, because 2026, we all pray that people are saying a lot when it comes to the greater good of people are saying a lot when it comes to the greater good of Nigeria. So we have to really take that into consideration and know that we are moving, we're past that phase of there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So we cannot afford to mess this up. So we have to stay at the advantage, which is very important for us as a nation. So when we're on that negotiating table with Americans, like I could see why they'll say China, India, but at the same time, like you said, everyone is all about what they can get, what is beneficial to them. So we have to really, really be careful and tread softly, really. We really need
And as
to.
it stands today, China already has a very deeply planted, if you allow me to say that, foot on the ground in Nigeria.
Yes, they do.
I mean, so much of Chinese initiatives, I mean, the Road and Belt Initiative also here in Nigeria.
Even in mine side.
Yeah, we're seeing so many, yes, of course, the Chinese people are big on that front.
they're
Then
really
you
big on
have
that front.
other sort of programs, so Nigeria-China collaboration and things like that. So you already have that going. But for those who are saying, let's move away from the US and turn to the East, as they call it, whether it's China or Russia, the question is, what other advantage are we going to get from them that we're not getting from the US? We need to be a bit more strategic in our diplomacy. That's very important. But if we want to domesticate, as it were, this conversation, we also need to ask ourselves, does President Tinubu get commensurate credits for some of the things that his government has gotten right? For example, when NEL Fund, the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, was rolled out, there were people who said, look, this is what it should have been already. This is long overdue. And they commended that initiative as part of the Renewed Hope agenda and all of that. We probably don't talk about those enough, for example. We've seen how that, on the one hand, fuel subsidy payments were suspended. We understand that trillions have been saved from it. So, by some records, about 14 trillion. And the bulk of these monies have been distributed or dispersed, or, if you like, shared amongst the governors, states, as we call them, right, subnationals. Who is holding the governors accountable for that? I can't give Jumai, for example, money to build a school in her community. And then you come back to me and say, you are not helping us. What am I supposed to do? I've given Jumai money to build a school. I've given her money to set up a health center. I've given her money to support young girls who need to go back to school, stay in school, and things like that. These are some of the things we don't talk about enough, because at the end of the day, we can't keep running to Abuja for every problem. So somebody need an analgesic for body pain, they come to Abuja. You don't have enough water in your fridge, you come to Abuja. You don't understand whether today is Wednesday or Thursday, you come to Abuja. There are things that the governors or the state government must do. Some of these things, or most of these things, are statutory. They are clear in our laws. There are things that the local government must do. And speaking of which, for example, more than a year ago, we saw a landmark judgment from the Supreme Court saying that local government must have absolute autonomy. You go to your local government, let me go to mine and see what has happened.
Well, it's a different ballgame.
The president, so bad it is that the president had to come out very squarely recently and said, look, if the governors refuse to, as it were, yes, exactly, comply with that order. It's an order. It's not, nobody's seeking your opinion. It's an order of the court. No less a court than the Supreme Court for that matter, to say that, look, local governments must by all means have autonomy. So the president says,
very important.
If governors continue to be recalcitrant, as it currently is for, the most part, the federal government may be forced, sadly, to pay allocations directly to the local government.
Which is in line, by the way, because like I said, local, when it comes to urban areas, they are like the mouthpiece. They are the ones that come all out and they are there. And they see all the basic amenities that are needed when it comes to boreholes, when it comes to education, when it comes to health and all of that. They are like the first point of contact for individuals. So it's very important that what is due is given to them, in order for them to make impact. Because these are the things that they need. They need funds. You can't be relying on the governor to give you. How much can they possibly give from what has been allocated to you? But I understand that there are loyalists among the local government chairmen, because they feel without the support of the governor, they won't be in that seat of power. But at the same time, they should understand that the needful needs to be done. Individuals who have decided to cast in their vote. They have trust. They believe that you can actually make an impact, or will I say a difference in that particular local government area. So you need to do right by them when it comes to education, when it comes to the little employment that you can give to the youths in that particular community. It goes a long way. It shows that you are working as a local government chairman. You know, back in the day, they were just dumb and they were quiet. The governors practically did everything for what did they really do in those communities? You'll be shocked. But giving them this sort of autonomy will go a long way to show that, hey, these local government chairmen have a lot to bring to the table. They're not just servants, or will I just say loyalists to the governors. They have something up there. And it's just unfortunate that some local government chairmen, when you go to their functions, you'll be upset. Have you actually attended a function? You'll be angry.
What kind of function?
Let's say, I don't want to mention any, please. Like a gathering, when it comes to news, it's so disorganized. It looks as if some of them are not.
You mean functions put together by local governments?
Yes, exactly.
Councils?
Coming together. Yes, that's what I mean. And at the same time, so they have a lot to learn. For me, for as much as autonomy should be given to them, which is a step in the right direction, but they really need an orientation to understand that office in which they hold. I think some of them don't really understand it, but I think they're becoming. That's why Algon is coming into play now. I think he gives that orientation, explaining to them why it's very important that you hold up your head and stand your ground and seek that autonomy that is that should be given to you. So a lot needs to be done when it comes to that whole aspect, because truly individuals in the community are the ones going through a lot, and they cannot come out. They need mouthpiece like the local government chairman to come out and speak on their behalf to make a difference in that particular community. Really.
That's the goal ultimately, Jumai, to make a difference for the better. I mean, moving things, as I always would say, from point A to point B. All right, we're also moving things here on the show this morning. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll take our time to look at some of the prominent Nigerians, at least those on record, that sadly we lost in 2025. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Social Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course,
welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
very numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Festify is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time, where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
World news in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Top Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
Well, a while ago we told you about how that Nigeria had lost, very sadly so, quite a number of prominent citizens in 2025. First we mentioned on that list was former President Muhammadu Buhari. But quite a number of other Nigerians also departed this physical world in this year past. One of them being the Awujale of Ijebu land, speaking of Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetona. We remember how that even the president himself had to go commiserate with that family. I mean, that was how prominent he was. So, of course, many persons will say this was quite, an elderly man. Elderly is relative. Because one of the things I come to find is when someone passes on, family would always miss them, friends would always miss them, associates would always miss them, regardless of the age at which they departed.
Very true, very true. Like I said, like I always say, it's this void in which they leave behind, it goes a long way. So at the same time, like you said, it doesn't matter the age, just that void alone of not seeing that person again, it's very hurtful to even think about. So it's not all about he lived up to 90 something or 100 and stuff, but no, it's just that void of not seeing that person, the person's smile, the person's laughter, the person's advice and all of that. That void will always be there, always be there.
And it was in 2025 we also lost author Mbanefo, who was until at some point in his lifetime former prominent representative of Nigeria to the United Nations. He died in December at the age of 95. Again, you see, somebody will say, like they say in my place, that you don't have to wear black at such a funeral. It should be all white for family and friends and all of those who loved him, and things like that. But again, the void is what really creates that emotional,
It hits home every single time, knowing that you will never see that person again.
Yeah, at least in this world as we know it.
This world as we know it, it hits home all the time.
Another one was Dr. Edwin Kiagbudu Clark. It was in 2025 that was also lost him. A man who had also made his mark, was not just
elder statesman.
Yeah, of course, by all definitions. It was not just a man who had his voice heard across the Niger Delta region. He did influence,
yes, he did,
in his own way, Nigeria's politics and leadership. All right, we saw what happened at his funeral and all of those events around it. Incidentally, the events commemorating or marking his funeral, most of them happened while the River State political tussle was on, because it was around that time that we even saw Governor Fubara, who at the material time was on suspension from office because state of emergency had been declared in Rivers at that time. But Dr. Clark had also made his mark over time. A man who had seen several national leaderships in Nigeria, from military to civilian, to military, back to civilian, back to military, he had been there. So he was a man who was so experienced that he even advised presidents across board in terms of leadership, shared his experiences, and things like that. Dr. Doyin Okupe, a man who was very prominent within the corridors of power, one-time advisor to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, later to former President Goodluck Jonathan. Then he was a prominent member of the Labour Party, at least from the obedient movement end of it. As a matter of fact, he was the placeholder for Peter Obi before he later came to join the Labour and then got the ticket of the party, because he had to go resign officially from the PDP, due process and all of that. But then again, he died at the age of 72 just last year. Then Dan Agbese, consummated journalist, also died last year in November. A good number of these guys died at the twilight of 2025. And incidentally, from what we are seeing over time, Juma, we never come to really or fully appreciate the value, the impact of people, the difference that they make, until when they pass on, we begin to take time to reflect on the mark that they've left, on the sands of time.
And that is why I always say, even as a prominent individual, your mark is really, what will you be remembered by? I think that's really at the back of our mind. What will people remember you for? What landmark, what impact, what legacy are you leaving behind for individuals to follow? It's very important. All these individuals that we've called, they have left one mark of legacy or the other. And that is why you should learn to celebrate people when they are alive and give credit to individuals when they are alive. In order for them to understand that, hey, you are a role model. You have done this, this, and that, and we appreciate you. Showing that appreciation goes a long way. Really, it does. For individuals to really understand that. We do not know the worth of a person to when they have passed. That's why he says, there's a saying that goes, you do not know what you have until you lose it. So it doesn't mean in death, but when the person leaves you completely. But also it applies to these individuals that have passed, and awards needed to be given, credits, and all of that. And the truth is, when the world comes to an end, what will you be remembered by? Very important.
Oh, well, let's not become too sober on the show this morning.
No, please, it's a new year. Are you kidding me?
But Nigeria also lost a very fine jurist, one who had contributed very immensely to the development and the growth of not just the judiciary in Nigeria, but even leadership across other critical sectors. Mohammed Lawal Wais, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, he died on June 16, 2025 at the age of 89. CJN from 1995 to 2006, he later chaired the Electoral Reform Committee, whose recommendations, known as the Uwais Report, remain a reference point in Nigeria's democratic reform debates. Of course, up until this minute, we're still talking about the Uwais Report, which many people believe quite strongly that if the Uwais Report is implemented even by a half, Nigeria will significantly move from where it is today to where it should be heading, right? True. But it will appear politicians, top to bottom, have not found the political will to make that happen just yet. So we are still where we are today. Because remember in 2007, when late former President Umaru Yar'Adua came into office, one of the things he said was, look, the election that's led to my emergence as president was not free and fair. It was characterized by anomalies. There were irregularities, right? Therefore, what we can do going forward is to say, let's reform our electoral process.
Very
and the Uwais committee, as we later came to know it, was set up. But we've been here now for what, 17, 18 years?
Yes.
That report has not been looked at. Some people, who do not have access to it, say that it's gathering dust, somewhere at the villa. But at some point, hopefully, we'll pick it up, dust it off, and then look at the content and the key recommendations in that report and do right by our people in this country. Another person we lost last year, just before we go to break, was Shego Awolowo. All right, he was a man who was strong in regulation. He was able to do so much in terms of regulation that has to do with customer experience, customer protection, consumer protection, and things like that. Now, Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Social Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Men can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Face to Face is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time, where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
world leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Talk Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
One of the persons we lost in 2025 was a very brilliant colleague of ours, a lawyer, a promising anchor who was, until her death with Arise television network, Somtochukwu Crystal Maduagu. I mean, that was one that broke many Nigerians.
Yes,
really, I mean, beyond the media sphere, even beyond, the country, because of the fact that people had seen her as a rising star at the time. So everybody was fixated on her future because it was quite promising. But then we're told that some gunmen who probably could have done things better with their lives stormed her residence, and so the rest is history. So we can't look at, I mean, this was in September, by the way, 3 months ago. We can't look at this now and not reflect on how insecurity is quite a challenge, because from the story we heard, these men numbered over a dozen of them, all armed to the teeth, storming a private residence somewhere in the FCT. And of course, there's the survival instinct in the bid to ensure she was safe, she was protected against this imminent danger. She had to take a jump from her apartment, which was way off the ground, and that was how a promising life was cut short on that day in September of 2025. And it's a call to say, more than ever before, beyond the efforts we're now seeing regarding insecurity, we must continue to put in the work, double down, and be more intentional and deliberate. For the first time the last few weeks, we saw the federal government looking beyond 2027, looking beyond elections and campaigns and strategy and all of that to say, okay, let's face these insecurity problems squarely. And people say, you have the US and President Trump to thank for it, because if President Trump had not made that move to steer this commitment or this effort we're now saying, who knows, maybe we'll still be running around in a cycle.
It's very important, really. Like I always say, the intervention of the United States coming into Nigeria is a blessing in disguise for our leaders who are in authority, putting them on their toes when it comes to curbing this menace, making them understand that even if it doesn't affect you directly, the people whom you represent, they are human as well. So you have to do the needful in trying to protect them, protecting their lives, protecting their properties, protecting their domain. Even like the IDPs, I think they would have gotten their life back on track by now, because someone who has started in a place, been in a place for about 20 years of his life, he has been a farmer, he's doing well for himself, he has his own family, and then this disruption of terrorism came and just turned his life upside down. Now he's staying in an IDP camp, a place away from home, trying to start life afresh. Sometimes, of course, we know how dilapidated these IDP camps are. Sometimes you might get food twice a day. It's not as how you had it, the freedom you had in your own domain. So if this particular menace in our society, which is terrorism, was nipped in the bud from the onset, I think most internally displaced persons would have been in their homes by now. Life would have continued. It wouldn't have been like this. And kidnappings, robbery, all of these things are the fastest way of making money due to people who hide under the shell of unemployment and all of that. But let's not do the blame game as always, but thank God.
Fix the problem.
Fix the problem, and at least there is progress now. We're seeing progress. We're seeing these terrorists being defeated. We're seeing that, okay, the numbers are reducing by the day. We're seeing, okay, we're now having hope that there's going to be a better Nigeria. So it's important that we see this progress and we recognize them and know that with time, everything is going to be fine.
All right. So let's look at Christian Chukwu. Christian Chukwu was a legendary footballer, a former Super Eagles captain who died on April 12th, 2025 at the age of 74. A hero of Nigeria's 1980 Africa Cup of Nations triumph, he later served as national team coach and remained a respected figure in Nigerian football. I remember one time we had the health issues, calls were made for fundraising for him. Then we saw someone like Femi Otedola stepping up, right, to clear his bill, and Nigerians applauded that effort, that intervention coming from a private citizen, at that point in time. When you look at the life and time of a man like Christian Chukwu, you see mixed feelings welling up on the inside of you. I mean, this was a man who not only was a professional when it came to issue of football, all right, whether he was on the pitch or he was advising or guiding or mentoring. He was also somebody who embodied so much of nationalism, so much of patriotism, and things like that. In fact, I realized that footballers from back in the day are overall more patriotic than even the politicians that we have today. And that's an irony, and it's also a shame. And then you're asking yourself, what do we do to immortalize these legends? Beyond even football, we have seen them in other fields, for example, in the civil service, for instance. What do we do to highlight them? What do we do to ensure that we keep their memories alive? To ensure that we have institutional sort of, if you like, arrangements to continue to build and strengthen the ideals that they lived out, the values they lived for, stand by, in some cases even died for. We also say that about our men and women in uniform. All right, what do we do to immortalize them? We must look at all of those. Politicians must minimize, even though we're not sure we can eradicate altogether, the temptation to want to politicize every issue, to want to place politics over and above every consideration. Because I'm asking myself, in the next 10, 20 years, what will we hear about a man like Christian Chukwu and several others who have passed away, including, for example, former goalkeeper Peter Rufai as well?
Yes, exactly.
You can't forget easily, for instance, I think there was Italian 90. Yes, there was. There was Tunisia 92. There was USA 94. We had him,
in the forefront.
Exactly, holding it down on the net and things like that. So these are not people we just remember for the records on the pages of newspaper, in our social media posts. They are people we must immortalize so that generations after us, we get to know the price they paid, the contribution they made, and in what specific ways they made a difference for the better.
Well said, Uyi. And that takes me aback a bit. And then before we get to that point of immortalizing these individuals, now, aside all of that, individuals who have made impact in our society, like these are men of the patriotism when it comes to Nigeria, when it comes to the football, when it comes to sports and all of that, these individuals made impact. What did we do for them before it got to that stage of a well-meaning Nigerian coming to paying their bills? Like, you'll be shocked to see someone like Peter Rufai. You saw how dilapidated his home was and all of these things. I think we should do the needful when it comes to individuals who have represented us outside the shores of Nigeria. I think we don't do enough. It's when they die that you see everyone coming out, or when there's a big challenge, you see everyone coming up. Before then, what did we do? What did we do? Why are footballers not pensioners? These are individuals who have made impact in us, who have represented us outside the shores of Nigeria. So after football, what next? This is what they know. They don't know anything about that, and there's no one there to actually tell them, hey, there's a life after football. You need to invest, or else you'll be broke, you'll be sorry, there was no one there. But what did we do as a nation? See, these are questions we should. It's not when someone for as much as I like the fact that we're remembering them, yes, but their family in whom they have left behind. These individuals were breadwinners. And when there is nothing left behind, even the family that now that they are gone, you are now remembering them. You know, those sort of statements that are there. So I think we need to do more.
Right.
We need to do more. We need to, individuals who are long forgotten and are still alive. I think we need to do more. It's not when they pass and we go out, we blow trumpets and everyone wants to be affiliated or associated with them. Okay, this or that. Before it got to that point, what did you do?
Right.
As a nation, what did you do? As a Nigerian, what did you do before it got to that point? I think we have to roll up our seats, sit down and think about that. Footballers, military men who have put out their lives, their wives, their kids, a lot needs to be done before we get to that point of the person being no more. I think we need to do a lot when it comes to remembering them and giving them that recognition that they deserve.
Yeah. Well, let's do just two more. I mean, time will fail us to go around. I mean, through all of them, top to bottom, quite a number of them, but just two more before we're done. One of Nigeria's most fabulous actors also passed this year. As a matter of fact, one of the most recent of them, as far as this list is concerned, Allwell Ademola, a popular Yoruba Nollywood actress, filmmaker, and producer. She died on December 27. Can you be that? 2 days after Christmas? Reportedly from a heart attack at her Lagos residence. She was the granddaughter of Nigeria's first Chief Justice, Adetokunbo Ademola. I think there's maybe more than one street named after that family in Lagos and even here in Abuja. But then you see, when you hear that people died of heart attack, whether they were alone at home, or they were behind the steering wheel, or they were at work, or somewhere in a public place like a restaurant or at the mall, you're asking yourself, what could we have done to prevent it?
Like you see a lot, like that's why it takes me back to that road incident that happened with Anthony Joshua. Now you see there was no ambulance in place.
Right.
People were just doing things. They would have, I think those individuals, there would have been a way to help them or you know, save the situation, but because we have bad health, it brings me back. I know I'm not going to digress, but it's still the same. They're all together. Bad health care in Nigeria, and that is why you see the NARD president coming out and saying, give us what is due. So we are doing the needful. Give us what is due to us. See, a lot of things can be averted if we are not careless about it. For instance, heart attack, heart failures, if there were ambulances in place, maybe close by or something, before you get that person, the person will be alive. There'll be like little pulse. But I say health guide is opening my eyes to a lot of things. But at the same time, at least emergency lines. If we had all of these facilities in place, there's so many things that would have been averted, so many deaths would have been averted, so many lives would have been saved. But we don't have all of that. So it's just unfortunate, and well, as individuals too, we need to take care of ourselves when it comes to eating right, exercise, doing the needful. I know we Nigerians, we like rice too much. We like tuwo shinkafa, we like miyan kuka. We should try as much as possible to mix all of these things when it comes to vegetables. Our heart, we need to take care of our heart, our kidney. Like I said, there was this program, this cooking program I did, and I said you don't have to have so much before you eat healthy.
Right.
And we lack exercise. We lack eating right. Someone can eat bread in the morning, yam in the afternoon, rice in the evening, forgetting that is carbohydrate, no protein, no fat at all.
In three different ways.
In 3 different ways. Not knowing that it's affecting your heart. And all that. But at the same time, even if you do that, we should have emergency lines. We should have standby ambulances. We should have individuals who are up there to do the needful. They work in tandem. They work together. So it's a balance of both. So.
Yeah, balance of both, no doubt about that. Let's look at the last here today, even though not the least for this list. It's one man who brought excellence and leadership to the policing system in our country at the very top echelon of it. Talking about Solomon Egiato Arase. Now, the former Inspector General of Police, who later became chairman of the Police Service Commission, died on August 31, 2025, at the age of 69. He hailed from Edo State and served in several senior policing roles. As a matter of fact, upon retirement from the Nigeria Police, he did serve in more than one capacity, all in the bid to strengthen local policing in Edo State. He did work, we remember clearly, with even the former governor, Governor Obaseki, and he continues, his legacy, I should say, continues to inspire many, whether in the Nigeria Police Force or outside of it. And we say where the souls of all of these people find peace and eternal rest.
Well said, Uyi. Well said.
Well, we're taking a break now, everyone. When we return, we'll talk about those alive, what they are doing, what they should be doing, and what to expect in this new year, 2026. Do stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Teacher Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as...
Numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Festify is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to...
World leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Top Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Teacher Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Men can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as...
Very numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Face to Face is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to...
World news in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Talk Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276.
One of the several activities that characterize Christmas and New Year celebrations will be things like eating, cooking, merriment generally. But then you can also take away traveling. People take a lot of trips, whether local or international. They want to reconnect with family, with friends. They want to change environment for a second, all right? They want to breathe. At least the president more than 2 years ago said Nigerians deserve to breathe, all right? So some of them just want to have that fresh feel. They want to, not that like they are avoiding certain people. They feel, variety is the spice of life, they say, that sort of thing. So people travel a lot, end to end. However, there are also challenges with that. First, you have the concern around costs, all right? Because around festivities, you find transport, you find fares spiking, jumping right through the roof and things like that. Then you also have concerns around risk of accidents, people driving at night, some people caught in drunk driving, things like that. And then the question is, must you travel during Yuletide? That's what we are always asked every time we hear of an accident somewhere. Why must people travel during festivity?
You must. That's the time to connect. Like seriously, I can't believe you asked me that. That's the time where people come together, loved ones. Like I've mentioned this before. That's the time where you'll be surprised that a son who is abroad comes home and he's gonna get a wife. That period, mothers are already.
What's a reason to come home?
He might not even know. The parents will just tell him, "Okay, you're getting married. We're tired of you being a bachelor for so long." It's a time for a lot of things. A lot of things happen that certain period. People have meetings, family meetings. That's the only time because you have been working from January till November, so it's expected that December, January again. It's a time where families come together, make very important decisions when it comes to the sale of land, when it comes to properties, when it comes to this, people come together and a time to bond. So that's basically the time that individuals have, basically. People travel day before yesterday, the day after the Christmas, to celebrate the New Year with family, loved ones, and friends. Some are not going to come back till 15th of January. Some won't come back till end of January because they want to take the whole of January to just refresh, bond with family and friends, and just be there. It's very important. People must travel. Are you kidding me? You must travel.
Incidentally, this period, this festive period between Christmas and now has shown that citizens may not really be as broke as we think they are or they claim to be, because people travel a lot, people buy a lot. So does that not show a clear-cut difference between the facade we try to create and the reality? Or are we saying that it's just a shared necessity, or are people taking out loans to do all of these things?
When you say that, a lot of people say there is no money, there's no money. But there was a clip I saw in Lagos. There's this Balogun market. If you've been to Lagos,
the popular Balogun market.
Oh my goodness! There were people, pedestrians. It was a traffic. You wonder, and the woman that was taking the video was like, "Where are these people coming out from?" And they said there is no money in Nigeria. People were in the marketplace. It was packed. And yes, you say we don't have money, but Nigerians were very happy people. We try as much as possible to just it's on this. This was it. This is the popular Balogun market. Look at the crowd in the market. Really, if a stampede happens here, look at a tricycle in the middle. This is something trapped. People are trying, and that some people are not going to go back home with their phones, with their monies,
with their bags,
with their wigs,
jewelry.
So if you're wearing, if you have a gold ornament, just know that you're not going to take that home anymore, because Balogun, a lot of things happen in this market. They sell one of the best things you can ever think of in that market. And we say we don't have money in this country, but yet people are still going to the market. They're still buying food, they're still buying clothing, still buying a lot of things. But at the same time, we are happy people in Nigeria. We try as much as possible to make the little things count. We try as much as possible to, whatever it is, just we're happy people.
Yeah.
That's how it is. But at the same time, sometimes if it's not important, I always tell people, if it's not important, please do not risk
Let it slide.
Let it slide. Was it 2 days ago, there was an abduction that happened in Kogi State, despite the fact that there was the airstrike that happened in Sokoto. So there are terrorists everywhere, kidnappers are everywhere, bandits are everywhere. So for as much as the needful is done, this administration is trying its best. I would not lie, I give it to this administration. At first we were saying that, oh, what's this administration doing? Oh, they don't even care about us. President Bola, our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he doesn't have empathy, he doesn't know what's happening. People around him are not telling him the truth. But with this intervention that happened, it shows that he has us in mind. And the truth is, this particular issue of insecurity, there is progress. We see that there is progress. For as much as our dear country and our president and everyone's hand is on deck concerning this, please, if it's not important, please don't go anywhere. Just stay. Just remain. By the grace of God, God will keep us many more years. We'll still have a chance to celebrate. And that's why we have technology. You can actually have a meeting online. It might not be the same to you, but seeing their faces and still chit-chatting and having fun is better to be alive and to do that than not to be alive at all and not even see your family for,
Interesting. And we also need to understand that there are some things that can wait.
Exactly.
Right. I think
it's like a dire affair.
That's where most times the issue of misalignment or misplacement of priority becomes a challenge, right? Not knowing that the fact that you are not able to do it in December of 2025 does not mean you can't do it in December of 2026. You'll be shocked within the first quarter of 2026, you'll be able to do it far better, far more than you could have done in December of 2025. So sometimes it is that discernment to understand timing around these things that matters. Because at the end of the day, you realize that most times our actions are informed by peer pressure, by society, by some sort of competition, which is always unhealthy. So because Jumai did it, we'll have to do it. No. You do not have the same circumstance as Jumai does. That's number one. Number two, you'll be shocked Jumai had to wait 6 years to do it. She had to plan over a 6-year period to do it. But you want to achieve it within 3 months, within 2 months. So you must understand that when it's all said and done, it's a matter of knowing what belongs where, knowing that, again, this is 2026, you've got to rethink how you prioritize, knowing that by all means you must put your money where your mouth is.
And like you mentioned, there's some things that can wait.
Yeah, sure, of course.
No pressure.
Right.
No pressure, please. No pressure.
All right, this is another break for you. When we return, we'll tie it up on Global Morning. Please stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Agbo.
You know how we do it on Social Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Men can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as...
Very numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Festify is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to...
Rural news in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Turn Up Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
A certain Ibrahim Mohammed has now been arrested by law enforcement and is telling them that he was paid about 100,000 naira, all right, to detonate an IED, that's an improvised explosive device, at a mosque inside the markets in Borno State that eventually took 5 lives, injuring 32 people. So that again has been one of the several talking points the last 24 hours as to what exactly is the incentive, what are the incentives that these terrorists get for going all the way, going all out to kill people, to destroy places of worship, all right, and to make so much of effort to grind the economy of a state to a halt.
It's just unfortunate. That means it might not be up to
100,000.
100,000 naira for you to, have that sort of mind. It has to do with drugs, because I don't think anyone in his right thinking factor or mind would just take a bomb, deteriorate a bomb in the mosques where individuals went to pray, when they're going all out to kill individuals. You can't be in your right frame of mind to see people die, those who have not offended you in any way, they've not said anything bad to you, just went there.
You have never met them.
You've never met them, and in your lifetime I don't think you ever meet them. So it's just unfortunate that this sort of things happen, and it boils down. I know we shouldn't say unemployment, but poverty has played a major chunk in this issue. So how could, not even in dollars, even if you are paid $1, do you know, human life, you cannot afford it. It's very expensive. And for 5 individuals, it could be from 5 different homes. It could be heads of families, members, breadwinners, fathers, uncles, brothers. You just took their life just like that, with no empathy, no sympathy whatsoever. That's not right. It's really, really sad, and I hope the law plays a big part in Ibrahim's life. It's just unfortunate that he did that. Please, really.
The other day, we were on the desk here, myself, Uba Usara, joining Topsy Gimba. One of the things we were talking about was the process of the radicalization of terrorists, all right, or bandits, whatever name they go by. Of course, by now, the federal government is very clear as to designation. They are now all referred to as terrorists.
Yes, they are.
what do you do to de-radicalize them? We're hearing some people, including governors, for example, saying that, well, those who are remorseful, those who are repentant, we can de-radicalize. And one of the questions Ubong asked was, who are the experts, psychologists, therapists, who are determining their state of mind? Who are those psychoanalyzing them for substance abuse, all right, to see if they are genuinely, organically remorseful, if they want to turn a new leaf, really, all right, those are factors. And then you're asking yourself, when that is done, what happens next? Do they already have skills? If they don't, how do you intend to help them acquire skills? For those who may want to go to school, what is the modality in place to ensure that also happens for them? And then you put another layer of question above that, which is, are the governors or is the political class on the same page as the military? Because most times we're seeing variance on that front. The military says we don't negotiate with them, we don't believe in this kind of radicalization that politicians are recommending or buying into, and then the politicians continue to tow that path. How do we ensure that all the stakeholders agree on one method, on the same approach? Those are issues that must be addressed. Otherwise, we'll continue to politicize insecurity while lives are being lost on a day-to-day basis.
And that is why some of these individuals who come out and say, hey, I'm repentant, I'm remorse, after a few months, few weeks, they go back. Have you seen the records? Some of them, they tell you they've escaped or they're working undercover or something. If you are truly remorse, I've always learned something. You'll be able to submit yourself to whatever punishment that will be given to you. So, for me,
for those who are genuinely remorseful,
okay, go through the process of what the law says. We serve some time before you come out, and then all of this gibberish of learning a handiwork skill and all of that, then we can talk about that. But let there be a cause in that particular, then we'll know that you're really remorseful or not to accept all of that, then we'll know. But it's just unfortunate that we keep going back and forth with this issue. We're going back and forth. And for every time that we come out and say, oh, these bandits, whatever you are, they're remorseful, more and more are still joining this sect, and they're still committing more harm than good in our society, taking lives like they created an individual. They were side by side with God when God decided to make man. No, you have no right to do that. All lives matter. Have you go to the IDP, Uyi, and see what is happening. You see a woman without her husband, her kids are missing. You'll be surprised they are killed. Some are still going through psychological trauma. God, and you think that it's all about coming out to tell us that you're remorseful, and then you just will open our arms and embrace you into society, and you're learning handiwork and whatever. No. You must face the wrath of the law first. And before we understand that, okay, you are remorseful, okay, learn a handiwork or whatever. But you just don't embrace such people into society. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many homes they've destroyed? Families they've ripped apart. Some families can never remain the same way. Never.
They can only cope.
They can only cope with it, with loss. And that's the thing, you can only cope with loss. For someone who doesn't understand, do you know what it is? So you can't tell us that. I think we need to put our foot down and make some very harsh decisions that will be beneficial to you and I in our society in order for us to move forward, so that we can really see this light at the end of the tunnel that everyone is talking about.
Incidentally, we've been in this tunnel for quite a while.
Yes, we have been.
Nigeria will continue to make progress against all odds as we will consistently win, all right, regardless of the headlines or opinions. I'm Uyi Agumofwegbe, again wishing you a happy new year.
And I am Jumai Manson. Happy New Year. And like I always say, please be security cautious and hope we have a prosperous, beautiful new year altogether. From Uyi and I, we say